ahead and start the attendance. Mr. Raymer,
Present.
Mr. Hensley,
Here.
Mr. Shaw,
Present.
Mr. Esposette,
Yep.
Mr. Brubaker,
Yeah.
and I'm here, and we expect Mr. Booker shortly. We'll notate the time when he gets here. Kyle, I understand you have a emergency addition to the agenda.
Yes, I have one emergency addition. I'd like to add the recommendation to approve Journey Willard as an MIS paraprofessional. This has nothing to do with what's already on the agenda. This is replacing a position that was opened up about a month ago. So we just did interviews this week, and so it's just an addition to get her hired on.
Any other additions? Okay, I'd entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Mr. Raymer,
Second.
Mr. Brubaker, any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 6-0. Hearing of patrons on agenda items. I think. Okay, no hearing of patrons. Recommendations for approval. Addition of a special education paraprofessional at MIS, Mr. Wheelan.
Yeah, so when we're looking at providing services for students who have been identified, we just need to make sure that we're giving them the best opportunity for success. And so we found there's a need out at MIS at this time, so I'm interested in adding that position. We do have a new grant that's available that we can pay this position out of, so it won't even come out of education fund. I will also say that this is an as-needed basis, and so it'll be evaluated each year if we still have that need as students progress through.
I would entertain a motion on Mr. Wheelan's recommendation. Mr. Hensley,
I'll second.
Mr. Brubaker. Please note that 1804, Mr. Booker arrived. Any discussion, questions? I think this is sorely needed, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
We're on this one now.
And I appreciate you guys considering it, because I mean, this is something that, as students come and go, we just identify a need. We don't want extra people. We want to make sure that we are able to meet the needs of the students we have. So thank you.
Any further discussion, questions? Mr. Booker, we're on considering the addition of a special education paraprofessional at MIS for the superintendent's recommendation. Did you have any questions? Okay, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Okay, you want to do Journey Willard?
We can do that now. Yeah, so that's fine. We're just recommend that we hire her to replace an opening that we currently have out at MIS for a paraprofessional, and her documentation is in your board packet.
I entertain a motion to support the superintendent's recommendation.
I'll make a motion.
Mr. Brubaker,
I'll second.
Mr. Booker, second. Any discussion, questions? This is normal budget, right?
Yes.
All in favor, signify by saying aye. Raising your hand.
Aye.
7-0, motion carries. Approval for architect for the building project, Mr. Wheelan.
So we conducted the interviews and made the appropriate reference checks and everything. And so on behalf of my committee, I'd like to ask you to consider Garmin Miller as the architect pending contract approval with them. So we were very impressed with what they brought to the table, and that is who we all agree is the best candidate at this time.
Got a motion to hire Garmin Miller for this first phase of the strategic plan.
I'll motion with stipulation approval through Mr. France.
Okay, second? Mr. Hensley seconded. Discussion, questions?
Nice to see things coming together, that's all I'm saying.
Okay, no further discussion or questions. We have a motion on the table to hire the architect for phase 1 of the strategic plan, Garmin Miller from Minster, Ohio. You all have this, and that will be subject to Mr. France's approval of the contract when it's presented. We'll do a roll call on this. Mr. Hensley?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Mr. Esposito?
Yes.
Mr. Brubaker?
Yes.
Mr. Bucher?
Yes.
Mr. Raymer?
Yes.
And I vote yes. 7-0. Discussion information, anybody? Public comment? Good. Superintendent comments?
So a few things, we did receive word that we received a grant from the Schwab Foundation for the Mural Maker, which I shared a website and video with you a few weeks ago. So compliments to Mrs. Janegi for filling that out, and it's going to be a really cool thing. So once we get that going, it's one of those that I'm going to have them come and the students come and present to you, because I think that's going to be really neat. I also want to thank Pre-Med Tech. It's a company here in town that I really was not familiar with, but when I found out that our 10th graders were touring that facility today, I ended up latching onto one of the groups. I don't even think the students knew who I was, but I was dressed up nice so they didn't object. So what a great facility, and I look forward to finding ways to partner with them in the future. It was a wonderful experience. Our equipment for SACA arrived, so we should start making some progress there, and I'll keep you posted. And then tonight is second night of parent-teacher conferences, and first night was an overwhelming success, and so I look forward to kind of getting some percentages down on how many, what participation level we had in each of the buildings. You know, I can't express enough how important it is for parents to play that active role in their kids' education, and our teachers certainly want to hear from them. So thank you to all the parents who participated and met with their teachers. So that's all I have. Oh, file systems coming along. I don't have a deadline for it. I believe they now have all of the needed materials for each of the doors. There was some of them that required some lifts and some additional electricity run to them, and so I worked with Jack to make sure that they had everything they needed at their disposal. So hopefully by that next meeting I'll be able to give you a firm timeline on when that should be done. So.
School board comments?
I'll just echo what Mike said earlier. It's fun to see these things get kicked off and progress being made. It's encouraging to keep taking steps forward and looking forward, and then express appreciation to the everyone that viewed or attended the architect presentations. That takes some time, and I'm sure you did a great job in doing it. So
I want to mention somebody that served a lot of years as a teacher. Passed away this last week, Nancy Eater West. She spent 40 years. Nancy spent her life shaping the minds of youth at Laketon Elementary. During that time, she taught kindergarten 3 years, third grade 22 years, and fifth grade 15 years. She had an uncanny ability to connect with each one of her students, no matter their background. Mrs. Sayre led by example with care, softness, thoughtfulness, and love. She had a special gift for seeing the good in all of her students and helping them to find gifts and talents. She believed in each and every student she taught, many of which has stayed in contact with her over the years. To Nancy, they weren't just past students, but old friends. So I want to say thank you to Nancy and her family for those 40 years and for the continuing work that you did.
Thank you for that, Mr. Booker. Anybody else?
We got some great stuff going on at MCS. Come and join us.
And I just say, tonight was a short meeting, but with some important things that need to be done. I thank everybody for showing up tonight. It's time to roll. With that, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn unless there's anything else.
I'm glad I made it.
We are too.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?